And now, my friends, we move on to Genesis chapter 1, verses 9 through 13, which is the third day, the creation of sea, land, and vegetation. This is the lush and verdant aspect of creation. Hear the words of the Lord. And God said, "Let the waters under the sky be gathered together in one place, and let dry land appear." And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters were gathered together he called seas, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the earth put forth vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees of every kind on the earth, that bear fruit with seed in it." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seeds of every kind, and trees of every kind bearing fruit with seed in it. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. Lush and verdant seeds with trees with seeds in it. The language here is about the perpetuation of species and plants, and that it is continuing to give and flourish. You can imagine if you are a Hebrew in Babylonian exile and you're yearning for your homeland that was once called the land flowing with milk and honey, that this would be in the deep recesses of your psyche as you're thinking about home, and you're thinking about your story, about who God is and what creation is a place that meets your needs, and it's a place of ultimate flourishing. I love that we're getting into the refrain that it is good, it is good, it is good. St. Basil of Caesarea is one of the Cappadocian fathers, one of the most prominent and important early theologians of the church. He wrote and spoke an entire Hexameron of creation. I really enjoy what he says here in it. In reference to, and the Lord saw that it was good, he writes, or says, what he esteems beautiful is that which presents in its perfection all the fitness of art, and that which tends to the usefulness of its end. There is a usefulness of its end. There is a teleology in things. That means there's a purposeness to it. There is a usefulness as well as an enjoyment of. He then, who proposes himself a manifest design in his works, approved each one of them. The divine fiat, the divine command, is approving of each creature, each creaturely thing, as fulfilling its end in accordance with his creative purpose. So the purpose of each creature is to fill the purpose of God. Later he writes, "It is thus that Scripture depicts to us the supreme artist, praising each one of his works. Soon when his work is complete, he will accord well-deserved praise to the whole together." There is a grandeur and beauty of creatures all throughout this beautiful poetic text. It is as if God is celebrating his work while making his work, or speaking his work, looking at it and enjoying it and delighting in it, which is instructive for the listener and the reader too, that we're to find delight in creatures. We're to find delight in the manifold of creatures, of the diversity of kind and species and number. And always we have a God telling us that it is good. So it's not so much the how of creation happening in this poetic story, but maybe the why, for the good delight of God and for the delight of each other within creation. And maybe the who, the God behind it, this benevolent God. And then kind of a what is it? Well, it's not chaotic. I know chaos happens, but there is an orderliness in the world. And in fact, the Hebrew imagination for the orderliness of the world is not unlike a lot of the orderliness found in ancient Greek thought. Certainly there's a synthesis in Christianity, but it is the seed that gives rise to the ability to have a scientific revolution, that creation is both good and also worth study, and that it can be studied, are tenets that undergird the curiosities of the sciences, and before the Enlightenment and through the Enlightenment. It's worth studying and good to study, and it can be studied. These are tenets that are wrapped up even in this poem as we set out the fact that God is at business creating things, naming them, and calling them good. Bless you on this day.